What's up, everybody? You kicking it with the Junkyard Dog on junkyarddogs.com. So yeah, man, I've been getting quite a few questions in my email about the GT40 Intake upper vacuum line routing. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys both of these intakes. One's an EGR, one's a non-EGR, and the vacuum routing. There's a couple different variations, but these are the two most common. And as long as you got an idea of what's happening under here, you can probably figure it out for the other ones. If not, you could always email me. So first, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the EGR upper intake. You can tell it's EGR by this hole right here, and it also has this hole right here. Okay, this is what heats up the air fuel mixture when you first start it up, and that's what that's for. It's just a EGR. Comes all the way from the heads and all the way up to the throttle body. Now this here is a non-EGR. This one, on the other hand, is completely blank right here. There's no hole. There's no provision for it. And as you can see, it's cut out here where the other one has a little hole. And the reason why I kind of like using these more often than non-EGR is because the EGR tends to heat up the air fuel mixture in a way that us performance guys don't like. All right, so that's the first difference between the intakes, one that you can see. So here we have a view of the vacuum lines underneath both of these intakes. This is the non-EGR, that's the EGR version of the GT40 Explorer intakes. So people tend to get confused. They see all these lines, they get confused and baffled as to what's going on. So on the EGR version, this is a very common setup, the way this is. So on the EGR version, you're gonna have this whole line right here has a hose that curves around and goes back into this line. Then on this other side, there's a hose here that goes into the back of the intake. This line here goes to your brake booster, and this line here goes to your fuel regulator. This line here and this line here are actually extras, but you can use them or you can cap them off, whatever you choose. Now on the non-EGR setup, instead of the hose curving around and going into this right here, it actually just curves around and comes into here. Okay, this is also a little different as well. As you can see, it's a little thicker, and this is for the brake booster. The problem is with the non-EGR is that you have to get a reducer to attach this to your fuel regulator. Now you're going to see these other two lines over here. These two lines here are not vacuum lines. These are actually water lines. They come out of the lower intake. These are here because it's the way the non-EGR intake is designed. There is no provision for the water in the throttle body spacer. What I mean by that is this. On this throttle body spacer, water comes in from the intake here, circulates, and it comes out on the other side. Now, that works all well and dandy on the EGR version, but on the non-EGR, the problem lies where, because there's that cutout, it wouldn't seal, it would just leak. So what they did at Ford was decide to change the water, the place where the water goes into the intake from the throttle body spacer to the intake itself. So that's what these are. So now we're going to go in for a closer shot here. As you can see, these two lines here, when you see them in this style, especially if they have like a little rust or you kind of jagged around the edges here, that's for water. So that replaces the spacer that has the water that goes through it. So yeah, Ford decided to put it through the intake instead a little bit later. So there it is, man. That's mostly the difference between the two. The lowers, the only difference between the lowers is one has a a boss for the ACT sensor, which if you still want to use the ACT, you could always, you know, drill and tap a hole in this part of the intake here, or maybe up in there, or anywhere where you can fit it. It doesn't necessarily have to be on runner number 5. It just has to be on one of the runners, you know. So there it is. We finally covered the intakes for a GT40 intake and the vacuum lines. Here we have a 302 block from an 89 that we're gonna go ahead and break down. We're gonna put all the little fancy stuff on there, the heads, intake, you know, the whole 9. So we're gonna stick these GT40P heads on there, 4 bars. So what my man decided to do, we're gonna get springs for the P heads. We've got an F cam for him. He's already got a throttle body on here, a nice 70mm BBK throttle body. It's just a little dirty, but once we go through it, we're gonna be in the game. So yeah, there it is. And also too, we're gonna change his injectors as well. He's got those regular EV1 injectors, so we're gonna get those EV6s going. And we're gonna go ahead and also change the cap on his distributor here. See, it's broken right there. So we're gonna go ahead and change that because this is an MSD base. So we're gonna go ahead and switch that up and go from there. Junkyard dogging.